When we change our mindsets, we can change our outcomes. Save our lives from sadness, depression, and anxiety, thus giving us the freedom to live the life we want. Hi, I'm Stuart Haskin, founder of getsafe, and your host of the Movement for Change podcast. In my world, I work with a lot of parents, and they're extraordinary people. So I want to introduce Lareka and Weller B, and they're the parents of Justice, who was in our PSA, who I believe is nonverbal on the spectrum, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
Non-speaking.
what's that?
Non-speaking.
Non-speaking, yeah, nonverbal and things. So yeah, it was just a great connection. How all of you were there, it was just heartwarming because I was telling someone next to me, I go, I have never had that many kisses for my kids who are now 11 and 12, and you had in 15 minutes. So anyway, can you give us a little kind of background on both of you guys and just a little what you do, and because I know you're involved in the community as well. You want to start, Lareka? You can give a whirly.
Sure, I'll start. I'm Lareka. I am Justice's mom, and I have a nonprofit organization called Angel-Lena Incorporated. So I help families that deal with autism from 2 years old up until adulthood, but mostly I focus on making sure that they have their independence and what they consist of. But for a job,
I know.
it's what I love to do, but I also have a job, a night shift job, and I work for Door of Hope, which is another nonprofit organization that deals with the homeless transition process. And we provide wraparound services for families who need it.
Wow. So you're just all involved. Well, we'll definitely get your website at the end, and I'm sure you'll take donations if we can get some. And so for your nonprofit.
Appreciate it.
So how about you, Ellerby?
I'm Weller B. Killebrew. I'm Lareka's husband and Justice's father. And I'm a voice actor, a musician, and what else?
You serve on an advisory board, which is important to make sure.
Yeah. I'm on the board at the Landerman Regional Center.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Very active. I also facilitate a fathers group for fathers of children with special needs. So
That's awesome.
it's just a safe place for them to come because unfortunately, there are more resources and more clubs and groups for women and moms than there are for dads. So I'm just fortunate to have a place where dads can actually come and feel safe to say things that they wouldn't feel safe or comfortable saying anywhere else because of fear of judgment or, just somebody not understanding.
So that dad's group, is that just you and the dads, or the kids are there as well, or just the
No,
dads?
it's just we deal with autism and special needs, so
Yes.
kids are gonna pop in,
Yeah.
but it's set up for the dads. So it's
Yeah.
just a place for the dads to come. Sometimes we have moms pop in and we have to let them know, hey, this is just
Man's club
it's a
out.
great thing.
Sorry. So, man caves. Yeah, no, I think I mean, obviously I love what both of you do. It's the fact that even having a group for men, right? Specific. And I think that's important, because we separate genders at times so they can divulge different things. And I think having that kind of support
Right.
group, because we're men. Some of us don't like to show vulnerability, showing how hard it is, how difficult it is, and especially in front of the family, right? So having that safe space to speak is pretty brilliant, I think. It's awesome. And then you're a musician. What do you play?
My first instrument is trumpet, but I also play keyboard. So I do gospel, pop, R&B,
Wow.
hip hop,
Oh,
country.
nice.
We're from Kentucky, so we got those country and bluegrass roots.
Yes, absolutely. We had a Get Safe band a long time ago. I wasn't in it because I can't play anything, but they would get together and play at our we had a little training area, and so they'd get there and play. But I don't think they were very good.
That sounds
But
fun.
So do you have any other children, or is Justice your only child?
No, have older daughter in Kentucky. Well, actually two. Jay's sister that's just above him, she just moved back to Kentucky as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we got 2 daughters in Kentucky, and then Jay is the youngest.
Okay. So I'll just ask. I mean, how was that connection between the siblings with Justice? I mean, because you see sometimes what we see is, sometimes there's a good connection, sometimes they don't understand, sometimes even the neurotypicals feel left out a little bit because a lot of effort has to go to, a lot of times with a child with autism. Did you have any of that, or how was that?
I say all of the above. Um, they have an amazing relationship.
They really do.
They are they're like twins. They
Really?
are 3 years and 1 day apart.
Wow.
Her birthday is January 11th. His birthday is January 12th. And
She thought for sure he was going to be born on her birthday.
Oh, really?
yeah, she was
Probably
3
wanted
years
it.
old.
Was
And
he mad or she wanted it? Because some
oh,
people don't
she
like to share their birthday.
she was happy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, she was so excited. She's 3 years old and she's gonna have a brother for her birthday.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so he waited. He almost showed up on the 11th, and then he backed up, and then on the
Yeah.
12th he said, "Okay, I'm ready."
Yeah,
Okay.
do my own thing.
On his
So,
own time. That's perfect.
but she's like his second mother.
Hmm.
She's always been there for Jay. Even when the autism introduced itself, she didn't fully understand what was going on,
Yeah.
but she knew she had to be there for her brother. So
That's
we're
awesome.
talking a 5-year-old that's trying to understand this change that came about in her brother. Uh, but she jumped right in, and she's just been that,
Safety net for him.
Yeah.
yes, a
How
safe.
and is he as kissy with her as you guys? I mean, does he see that, feel the bond, and just like I saw with on set with you guys?
Yeah,
Is it?
It's a beautiful thing to experience. It really is. I'm the oldest of 8 on my dad's side, but my mom, the only one that my mom has. So I kind of missed that part of having a, sibling grow up in the same household.
Yeah, yeah,
But just to see that and see how they interact is a beautiful thing. And they're there for each other too, just as
yeah,
much as she is there for him. He's very supportive of her too. To the point that if a man ever comes in her life, because she's 21 and she's like, look, yeah, I don't really need a man because my
yeah.
brother does all these things, like, he takes her to dinner and,
Oh,
take on a trip, or, you know what I mean? Send her gifts. He wrote her a song. So it's like,
oh my
whoever
goodness.
comes in my life, they're going to have to step it up because
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, and you had mentioned, was there some difficulties thinking, hey, what about me at times? Because it seems like a natural thing because it's,
oh
you
yeah.
know,
And it was something that we just, in the middle of trying to figure out things ourselves, we just found that she was being left out
yeah,
because there was so much focus on Jay, and he needs these services, he needs this done, he has to go to this place, he has to get this done. And we were just moving, so
yeah,
we didn't even, until looking back,
Mhm.
it was like, oh my God, I'm sorry, baby. I
yeah,
had no clue. And she's like, I don't hold that against you all because I understand Jay needed you all more than I did,
Yeah.
yeah,
but it still hurt at times because there were times that I did need something from you all and I couldn't get it,
yeah,
She didn't
so
really make it known, and for some reason, we just didn't really connect to ask because the relationship was so great as far as them two. She didn't really like show any jealousy or anything like that.
yeah,
It was more like I need to be supportive. I'm the oldest. Kind of, she took that
yeah,
role on,
yeah,
and so it was hard to really see that or discern that's what her, that's how she really felt. And plus, she was in a lot of activities, like she was in dance,
yeah,
singing, and she just was doing a lot of things. So it was kind of like she had her life a little bit too outside of the autism world. And so we just assumed that, she was okay because she had
yeah,
the balance of both worlds, you know what I mean? Being with her brother and then having relationships for the most part outside of that. So
yeah.
it slipped. It really slipped.
Yeah, I mean, first she seems amazing, which I don't doubt because of the parents. But we would have get-togethers for the siblings of them because it just gives them their special day, right? Because we'd see that, because I don't think it's anyone's fault. Having a kid, first of all, is very hard, and then having one that has special needs is going to be more difficult, and no one prepped you for it, right? So you're all, before the child happens, you're going, okay, I can figure out how to do a diaper and this, and then it just became more. So, I mean, man, pretty amazing how she was so mature and understanding it, but, again, she's right. Who knew, right? Going into this, that, you had to,
And she did
I,
participate in SIB shops. I think it was Pasadena Child Development. She went there for a while and did a lot of classes and stuff. And then when we were back home in Louisville, Kentucky, she participated in a lot of SIB shop things too. So she did have those
good.
avenues or those outlets, if you will, to be able to express herself and be able to be around somebody that can understand her perspective and what she was going through, as far as being a sibling of someone that has autism.
Wellerby, when did do you remember when you had that conversation with her and saying, hey, I'm really sorry that we may have been eyes off for her a little bit? Was she older or was it?
She was probably 17, 18.
That's about right.
Um, it was just another part of that was that I had depression, like major depression, and I was unaware that's what I was dealing with.
Right.
So having depression and trying to raise a special needs child and then raise a neurotypical child, somewhere I got lost.
Yeah.
And then she got lost in the middle of it. So when we had that conversation, it was kind of eye-opening because it allowed me to look back and actually reflect on what had taken place. And once I did, it brought me to tears. I was like, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, I was literally on the couch for 2 years.
Yeah.
I would go to work. I come home, I'm on the couch. If it wasn't some type of
Activity or
the
something you had to
activities or
do. Yeah.
therapies or what have you, I'm back on the couch. So that was my life for 2 years, and it went by so quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he
I
was pretty
looked
much
up.
functioning for the most part, but not present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not available, if that makes
He
sense.
did
Like
what he needed, right? He had to go to work, had to come back, and that's so. And I mean, it's a couple things. It must have been hard on you, right? I believe, Lareka, because just having to pick up those spots of joy and hey, let's keep this moving, and we're positivity. Did you ever? I mean, and you don't have to answer anything. I was just curious. Did you ever find out what it stemmed from, or it was just the depression, or is it just because sometimes? And I'm only saying this because some parents, after a child is born on the spectrum, some of them do experience a depression level, and I don't know if that was related or was something else, just because you weren't expecting it, and you maybe had visions of my kid's going to be president or a major league baseball player or whatever. Sometimes I would speak with parents and they were like, it was a shock, and there was a depression that we went through, that we had to work through it and realize our life is completely different than what we envisioned when we wanted to have kids. So I don't know.
Um, my situation, I don't know if it was different, but I guess it was kind of unique for me. After my wife encouraging me for a long period of time to seek some type of counseling,
Right.
I finally talked to somebody, and after I did, they discovered that it wasn't a new thing. Like I've been depressed since I was a kid,
Okay.
and I've gone through life with depression and just
Yeah.
didn't know. I just couldn't figure out why things weren't going right for me.
Yeah.
So by the time Jay came along and by the time he was diagnosed and then everything that came with that, that was just compounding depression on top of what I already had that I was unaware of.
Mhm.
So it took what I think I was 44, 45 when I finally figured out, oh, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I'm 51.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is something recent that I've discovered. And
And I mentioned it to him too, but I just think when you're in that state, it's hard for you to see it. You have to
Yeah.
kind
It's
of
kind of
go
that thing like we
and come
look
to
in,
your own realization of it.
yeah, well, we can see in, right? Better than you can see out. That's the thing. And
Right.
yeah,
you probably knew. How long have you guys been married, just out of curiosity?
we've been married 24
4.
years. Well,
And
24 this year in
wow.
August.
Congratulations. That's a record times 2 in California. So,
Right.
so, did you, Lareka, did you ever see it, like know it early on, or you were just saying, because I feel bad for Weller because, you know, he probably internally he probably knew something was off. Why is this happening? I'm not sure, but not understanding. And I'm assuming once you found out, at least you had a label to put on and realize, okay, this is why
Yeah.
I've moved through life like this. But did you see it, little random things, or it more of it popped up when Justice was born?
That's a good question. I think I seen it more when we moved here from Louisville, Kentucky, and we had a lot. I mean, we've been through a lot of traumatic experiences. My mom, his grandmother who helped raise him, passed away a week and a half. Um, and then my mom and his grandmother passed within a week and a half of each
Mm,
other. And they were our support system to the point of, we can leave our kids there and know they're safe. And you know what I mean? It's hard to kind of
yeah,
find those type of people.
agreed.
Sometimes you can trust family, and honestly, sometimes you can't because they don't really know how to navigate autism or navigate someone with special needs. So
Yes.
those two people we definitely could depend on, like really go somewhere and just like, relieve,
Yeah,
have a relief.
rejuvenate. Yeah,
And they died a week and a half apart from each other.
wow.
And that was our world, you know what I mean? So as we knew it. And he still was trying to graduate, because he was out here at school. So he was still trying to graduate and get through school. Voiceovers. He was doing voiceovers at the time, and what's it called, Video Symphony.
Audio engineering.
Yeah, audio
Oh,
engineering.
nice.
That was the name of the school, and Video Symphony was the name of the school. And so he was trying to do that and keep balance with that. And I was still working at home with, a child with special needs that had speech and occupational therapy and all these things, and still working a full-time job and still helping take care of my mom too. And so she wound up living with us for a bit. And then so she had cancer. So just dealing with that and then moving out here right after, within what, 6 months, maybe 6 months. So everything that we knew and loved, our family and everybody, we left everybody and came out here to pursue his career and to have better resources and things for justice.
Yeah,
So that was a lot of transition within 6 months, losing the people that we love and supported us and supported our family,
yeah,
to moving here to a new place that we didn't know really anybody. You know what I mean? I did have two uncles that lived here, but they lived in um, LA. And so I didn't really get to see them a lot. They were a lot older, older
yeah,
uncles. Um, so we just picked up and left. And I think all of that, when he finally got here and we finally got to a point where we can breathe, I think he just had to process the grief. And he was really, really close with my mom as well.
yeah,
So it was, we lost two people and it was a lot.
yeah. And that, I mean, just besides the love of the grandma and the mom, it's what you were saying, the respite kind of thing for because we are parents and we
Absolutely.
are caregivers, right? So
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
need that kind of breathing room just to keep moving for yourself. Because we always talk about self-care, and we'll talk about it with parents with children with special needs. But they look at it as like, what are you talking about? When do I get time for that?
Right.
So
What is
it's
that?
it's
Yeah.
it's even harder, but it's so important, and to have that. And from what we see, because we work with, we talk to individuals around the country, and it does seem like California does have, because of the regional center system, seems like it gives a lot of support. And so is that what did you guys research that or know that coming in, that the regional centers were out here?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the research queen. So
So
we don't make any moves until she does thorough research. And once she started, I told her, once I was out in school, I was like, look, I think this is where we should be. And she
Yeah.
said, well, I like California. Let me see if they got any services for Jay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. I know it's I was just talking to a gentleman from Idaho and still can't figure out how to get services for their child. And we were actually talking about figuring out how to create a way to go after services, to create some kind of funding source from the state. And, so it's hard and there's not there. But so let's take a quick break, because we really haven't spoke about your amazing kid, Justice. And so we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
We want to talk to you about something important.
988 is a special number you can call
when you're going through a tough time, like a panic attack, really bad depression,
Or when you're thinking about suicide.
It's like having a superhero in your pocket.
When a crisis intervention worker answers your call, they'll listen without judging you.
they'll ask about your crisis and offer resources that can help you, like counseling services, support groups, or other forms of assistance.
All contact with the 988 Lifeline from people seeking help are to be treated as confidential by the 988 Lifeline and its network centers.
This means that information about callers, chatters, or texters will not be shared outside of the 988 Lifeline without documented written or verbal consent from the people seeking help.
But
If they think there's an immediate danger, they can send out emergency responders.
your safety is their top priority. Remember though, 988 is only there when you really need help.
It's not for when you want to tell someone about your favorite movie.
Or need help with your homework.
Whether you're feeling anxious, sad, or overwhelmed,
988 is here for you.
Let's make a deal, okay?
the next time life feels too hard to handle alone,
Let's call 988.
because we're in this together, right?
Let's rock and roll.
You're
not alone.
All right, we're back. But I was just saying, I was just thanking Lareka and Weller B for just sharing, because I was telling them that GetSafe does a lot of parent workshops, and it's about teaching safety and how to help your children in a way that keeps them involved in the community if that's their. But the biggest thing was the parents would connect after there was tears. They didn't know they had a support unit. They didn't know other people were experiencing what they were experiencing.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I was thanking them for, just sharing. And Jay, who's helping with produce this, he just said thank you because it gave him support in his life as well. So it's amazing, and I appreciate the honesty and the openness. So, but we came to meet Justice. He was in our public service announcement regarding 988, the mental health suicide crisis line that will help individuals with developmental disabilities. And Justice is nonverbal, and he, how would you say it, speaks through the iPad, or is there a term for that?
Yeah, the term we use is non-speaking. Non-verbal is like the popular term.
Okay.
However, when you say non-verbal, then it's kind of insinuating that there's nothing to say. So we
okay.
say non-speaking because he doesn't speak with his
voice.
voice, but he is verbal. He has a voice. So he speaks through his iPad. His iPad is his voice, so that's what makes him verbal. So that's where we make the distinction.
And I will use that from now on. So because I also feel like I only got to meet him for a few hours, but I felt like he spoke through his eyes. I don't know if you guys remember Aaron, the director. He was so drawn to Justice, just his facial and the way he looked at you too. And so so you're right. I felt that he was speaking through his eyes as well, just the way he reacted. And also he's very affectionate, and so that's his other point of communication as well. So it's
Yeah. And it's funny you said that with the eyes. Before Jay started typing when he was 8. So before he was 8, we used to say we never knew someone who could tell you they loved you without saying it.
Absolutely.
Like every single day, this kid would tell us he loved us, but he had no way of speaking it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's just
Well, you got to think that love is a action word anyway,
Yeah.
and so it's to be shown, and he's very good at that. Very good about showing love to people. You know what I mean?
I saw that for sure. It was like I told you, I was jealous.
You guys have been justicized.
What's that? So yeah, and we've had incidents where we've had non-speakers that had something bad happen to them communicate through action. And it was something on a bus, and the mom didn't understand why it wasn't doing their normal thing, and they were expressing themselves, showing like bad movements and then she realized something bad had happened. Not ever speaking a word, but communicating everything. And so it is magical how you see that happen. And like I said, I did see the love, for you guys and everything. How does the iPad work? Because it was very interesting how the communication was happening through that as well.
It's a app called Proloquo to Go, and it's an app that is actually inserted in his WhatsApp. You just download the app, and the voice that he uses is
Darius.
Darius.
Oh, Darius Ruxer?
Darius.
Darius is the name for the voice.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's more relatable to him
Yeah.
as a black man, because sometimes they have ones that doesn't match who he is.
Yeah.
So we're happy to say that we were able to create Darius ourselves. We had a hand in creating the voice and the dialect and how everything sounds to make it match more like people that are African American, because sometimes we have a little bit of swag, slang, but also it's who he is. You know what I mean? Like it fits him well, and he had a hand in it. So we're happy to say that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like he created ownership in it, because it would, and I could see someone embedding those and thinking, all right, we'll just do an English accent, Australian accent, and a high pitched voice. I mean, so it's
because he's not 9 anymore.
No. How tall is he anyhow? He's very tall. How tall is
6'4".
Yeah, I was like, because I'm 6'3", and I was like, man, he's pretty tall. So
yeah.
But so how did that work?
He had before where he was sounding like a 9-year-old, but he was like a 18-year-old. So
really? Yeah. That's not going to fit. So that's not going to work. But did I take it you guys learned how to use the iPad first, or everyone learned together, or how did that go?
It was a process. The iPad wasn't even introduced in the beginning. When he first learned, he went through a process with a woman named Soma, who is the guru of teaching non-speaking kids how to type and communicate. So she started off really basic. She would write words on a sheet of paper and ask him questions, and he'd have a choice of words. She'd say 3 words, he'd pick one, she'd rip it up, take that word and add something else to it. And these became sentences. So she went from that to doing like a 4 square and putting the words in there and giving him choices, and he would pick a word. And then went from that to using a stencil. where he took the pencil and pointed to the letters on the stencil board. And from that, he went to actually using the letter board and then to the iPad.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
people look at it and they assume, well, a couple of things. People look at it and they're intimidated by the iPad for their child. That's number one. And number two, they assume that the iPad is the only avenue to communication. So one thing we try to communicate to everyone is Jay is not an anomaly. Jay is just like your child. If your child looks, acts, sounds, moves like Jay, your child has the same capabilities that Jay has to
Absolutely.
communicate.
Yeah.
It really starts with you. As long as you believe in them, you tell them you believe in them, they'll start believing it.
Absolutely.
And if they start believing it, then they're going to start doing the things that you expect them to do. So,
Yeah.
you know, you just have to start somewhere, and you have to start with, I believe in you. I believe you can do this.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if they see any doubt in their parents and the first people that are supposed to be supporting them, you're not going to get anything from them. They're going to give up.
Absolutely.
And I think that's in like any world, right? Any parent, if you show, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, and
Right.
you're
You
going
have
to
to
not
just
go anywhere.
comment. You have
Yeah.
to. I mean, that's the first start. If you go by and you just say that, oh, he can't do that, but you haven't even tried or attempted,
Yeah. Also, I kind of think, because I think you had mentioned it's intimidating. I kind of feel like maybe some parents are intimidated in their skill set. Am I going to be able to figure this out? I was watching you and I was going, oh man, I mean, I hadn't seen how you did it, but it seemed complicated to me. Like, I mean, it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But you
Well,
know, you do what you.
he didn't type with me first. He typed with my husband first. And that's because I was like, not, I was too nervous about it. I was afraid I
Yeah.
was going to teach him the wrong way. So I said, I'll just observe, I'll just watch. And one day he just kind of put it like, you got to do this. We're going to do this together as a team. But I was like, I don't want,
Yeah.
I don't want to mess him up because he's doing great, with it. And
The first 4 to 5 months, she wouldn't touch it.
Yeah. I
She
can see.
wouldn't go near it. But now
Yeah.
she's like his main source of communication.
Oh, really? Oh. Well, I mean, did you think you were able to connect with it because of your music? I mean, or did you do any technology, or you just rolled up your sleeves and said, we got to figure this out?
That was pretty much it. It was,
Yeah.
he has to have a voice. We know he's in there. It's up to us to help him
Yeah.
bring this voice out.
Absolutely.
So,
he was confident in getting it done, and I wasn't, not at the time. I was
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
I know he's in there. I know I've seen him, and all of that. And I don't want any parts of messing that up or, leading him astray or teaching him the wrong way. And so,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you resonate what we say as one of our mottos is helping people find their voice. And then those who may never be able to use a voice to be their voice, because we have other individuals that can't, whether it's, we do a wide variety of, if an individual has been assaulted, sexual assaulted or something where they've just completely lost it, we will be an advocate for them as well as, but you have found Justice's voice as well as being strong advocates, I mean, it's happening because of your commitment. Now, this lady who helped you, was she Los Angeles based? Or are you guys, I'm assuming you guys are from LA, or was this all?
No, my wife, the research queen,
Yes. I might have to borrow your researching skills.
she was online and saw this lady whose son, who resembled Justice, was typing, and he was communicating, and he was an author, and he was doing all these amazing things. And she ran and was like, I think I found it. I think I found his voice. We're going to find his voice.
Oh my God. What a day.
We drove to Austin, Texas to meet her.
Huh.
And that was when he first got his voice at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was beautiful. His first sentence was, I'm glad you cracked my case.
Oh my God. That must have made you cry and tears.
Yes.
And
First full sentence.
how did that make you feel? I mean, what went
Oh
over
my
you?
gosh.
every time, man. I get chills every time I think about.
I was trying my best not to cry like loudly, but I just wanted to go, but I wanted him to keep going and I wanted him to stay focused on what he was doing. So I just held it back, but I was so happy. Like I knew this kid was in here. I've been knowing it. It's just a fact of trying to figure out how to reach
how to
him.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew he was in there when he was about 3.5, when we were reading a book together, by Holly Peets Robinson's twins. Something about Charlie, something like that, something about Charlie. And they were talking about the little boy that was misunderstood. He was a non-speaker too. And he was, just really wished he could be understood. And when we got to that part of the book, Justice began to weep. He was crying. And so I closed the book up and then he would stop crying. And I opened the book up and kept reading about it. And he started crying again. And I looked at Jenny and I said, hold on just a second, So I was looking at him, he was looking at me. And I was like, he's in there, and like this book he's relating to this book.
Wow.
And ever since then, we've been on a quest to find something that will work for him. So we tried the picture exchange kind of thing and
Right.
sign language, and those things just didn't work for him because he needed something relatable. He needed something to look like him. The picture exchanges were
cartoonish.
Yeah, cartoonish stick people kind of thing. He's like, my mom's a black lady. Like it doesn't look like my mom, or that doesn't look like my school bus or my mom's car. And so he just couldn't relate to those things because he's been in there and he's a brilliant kid,
It's I can't imagine. So, like I'm only equating it because I just see it on the news is where people never had hearing or vision, and someday all of a sudden it's there, they get it, but and you see that relief and oh my gosh, I can't, but yours is, I knew it. I knew something was there and you found it. And
yeah.
That's, I mean, again, I give you credit for being the research queen, that you were able to hunt it down. And is the lady still doing this? Is she still around? What was her name, just for viewers?
Soma Mukhopadhyay.
Soma Mukhopadhyay?
Last name.
Okay.
Yeah, but she started here in LA. She started in LA and then she wound up moving to Austin, Texas to finish her work. And she has an office.
Yeah, we'll probably grab that name and stick it in our comments as well too. But yeah, it's
Halo.
Halo, that's right.
Halo. Okay.
Is the name of the organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Halo. Okay. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And like I said, I've seen, I've worked with, teenagers and adults and, hey, your parents coming by? No, they're divorced. My dad's got a new wife, but he's going to come by and stop by. I go, oh, that's good. How long does he stay usually? He goes, stays like a couple minutes, talk, and then he'll come back in another 6 months, So I've just seen, and I get it, there's a part where no one knows how to handle it, but it's an obligation that, like you were amazing, I just saw it in you too, and I saw it in the other parents there. So so I'm very thankful for having you here. Is there, I don't know, if you thought of any thoughts or advice for parents out there with persons with children with developmental disabilities, any suggestions?
Well, the first thing, again, just echoing my wife, is presumed competence.
Absolutely.
Can't stress that enough. Just because there's involuntary body movements or sounds that may pop out that are inappropriate at times, it doesn't mean that they're not in there. It doesn't mean that they don't have something to contribute. It only means you have to do some work in trying to find out where's the connection.
Absolutely.
And
play on their strengths is what I would say, right? Because we already know the things that are challenging, right? And sometimes those things outweigh the good things, only if you allow that.
If that's what you focus on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely focus on the strengths. If they can dance, then help them do something that's going to improve their dance, or put them in a program that they can dance and they get joy out of it.
Yeah.
If they can draw, do something with that. They may be a mathematician. but you don't know it if they can't communicate.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with Jay. We didn't have a clue that this kid could do algebraic equations in his head.
Wow.
You know,
We're double checking with the calculator. He's
Yeah,
already
that's right.
got the answer. And I'm like,
yeah. So, I mean, these kids are brilliant. And that's another thing that I just want to put out there. The fact that these kids have special needs, that means something was taken from them that everyone else actually possesses. So when that something is taken, then something else is given in
in the place.
excess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these kids are actually like X-Men. Like they have these superpowers
Right.
that if you actually tap into it, they can help change the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They really can. And that's not blowing smoke. That's not saying, you know, my son is, that's saying all of these special needs people
Yeah.
have these abilities.
They have something to teach the world. They really do.
If
Yeah.
if you give them that chance,
hmm
they can blow your mind and they can do extraordinary things. They really can.
I wholeheartedly believe that, because we do these little conferences and we'd say, hey, tell us your special gifts. And, you know, the first thing out of their mouth is, I have none. I have a big mouth. All right, you're going to be our president. You know, well, what's next? Well, I like drawing. Okay, you're our marketing person. You know, it's allowing them to realize that they do have a gift and
Yes.
they have a place in this world. And that's what our agency is about. You know, we work with thousands of clients to help them live a life of normalcy, right? That they can go to the movies, they can go to, take a bus without being fear of being attacked or hurt, or, you know, not knowing how to communicate. We teach law enforcement. So, because we want law enforcement to be there for them, right? To understand, like, okay, I have a tool here now. I understand that I'm here to help you, because a lot of times we've had bad calls where they came out, the person called for help with the disability, and they ended up getting arrested because they didn't understand the stimming or the movements or whatever it was. And so, but yeah. So we've been doing this forever. You guys have. I mean, it's just an amazing story. Lareka, would you like to mention your nonprofit one more time, and then we'll get all that information and put it in. But
my nonprofit is Angel-Lena Incorporated. So that's ANGEL-Lena, LENA Incorporated. And Angel-Lena is actually, my mom's name is Angel, and his grandmother is Lena. So that's
what
where
a perfect name.
Name
Is there a
for-
website? Do you have a website by chance?
AngelinaInc.com.
Okay. All right. So I'll put that there. We usually stop at 20 something minutes. We're into 45, so I apologize. But I mean, I appreciate the honesty and the openness, and I know you're going to continue to touch lives, and, you know, it's giving parents hope, giving them understanding, you know, opening up about some of the tragedies that you experience and the hardships and the things that you fought through, and even talking about your daughter, you know, so amazing. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know,
Thank you.
Hopefully we
Yeah.
can chat
So
again.
we're in this together. If, you know,
Yeah.
any parents are out there that need some support or, you know, advice, go on my website and we can do a consultation just to have that support that you need.
Yeah, we'll get it out there. We'll throw it through our website. You know, we have a few followers, and so we love having more resources. And we just kind of accidentally met each other, and I hope to be a part of what you guys do for a very long time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And real quick, I want to double back on something you said as far as you encouraging them and letting them know that they possess these gifts. I just want to thank you all for stepping in that role,
Absolutely.
because you don't understand how impactful that is, because all their life they've been told they didn't possess anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's why when they get to you, they don't have any answers, because
That's what they
nobody's
do.
ever told them they had anything. They've
Yeah.
always told them they don't. So
Yeah, they-
thank you. Thank you so much for that, because every little part adds up to all of us creating something beautiful for this world.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we just want to give them value, which they are. You know, a lot of times they've taken away. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. Well, we're going to sign off, and so nice to seeing you, and we'll take care, and we'll chat again for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well.
Appreciate it. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Movement for Change. We hope that our discussion has left you with new perspectives and insights that can help you change mindsets and save lives. Please visit us at getsafeusa.com for resources, trainings, and if there's a topic you want to hear about or you have questions, please email us at info@getsafeusa.com. Together, we can make the change we want to see.